Hello everyone. Good evening to those joining us in Asia. Good afternoon and good morning to those from other parts of the world. I welcome you all to the webinar on data quality hosted by the National Data Quality Forum, which is being maintained by ICMR National Institute of Medical Statistics. My name is Dr. Vishnuvardhan Rao. I am the Director of ICMR National Institute of Medical Statistics, NIMS, New Delhi. I will be moderating the session. The topic today's webinar is HMIS, Road to Stronger Health Data Ecosystem in India. India is a data-rich country with a huge data ecosystem of data coming from various government sources. To name few, NSSO, MOHFW, SRS, CRS, and large-scale surveys like NFHS, etc. A huge data has been generated. There is an impending need to address data quality issues also. As you all know, the Health Management Information System of the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare is one of the world's largest sources of administrative data. Since its launch in 2008 to till date, many changes have happened in terms of technology, content, quality management, user-friendly dashboards, etc. The HMS launched in 2020 is an upgraded version using the advanced technology and enhanced features, such as it has a person to facility specific credentials to interact with dashboards, compatibility with multiple devices, to name a few. In this webinar, we'll hear about the upgradation of HMS and its features by Mr. D.K. Oja, who is a dynamic Deputy Director General Statistics of MOHFW and a member of Indian Statistical Service, has played a key role in strengthening and fine-tuning the monitoring mechanism in various health facilities. With the technical support of WHO, Sri D.K. Oja has developed a unique health management information system, which is termed as most of them as know as HMIS, with the validation of user credentials and daily data reporting from all the public health facilities. With a career spanning nearly 2 decades, she has been instrumental in implementing high-impact policy and social welfare schemes across the country. In this current role as DDG Statistics, he is spearheading the development of digital learning for various initiatives of the Government of India. Now over to Dr. Oja sir for your presentation, please. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Namaskar and good evening to all the esteemed researchers and those who have joined virtually. And thanks to Dr. Rao. Now, as he rightly given some brief introduction about HMIS, it's my proud privilege to present this HMIS Health Management Information System developed by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare to reach all the facilities and get the public health service delivery data across country. Sir, just I will be sharing my screen. 1 minute, sir. So my screen is visible.
It is, but it shows the Word document.
Yes, sir, your screen is visible.
Screen is visible.
A Word document which is open. If you could just go to your slides.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We can see the slides now, sir.
Okay, wonderful.
Thank you, sir.
I want to minimize on the right. Yeah.
It is visible, very much visible.
Okay. Sir, is it visible? I'm not able to
Sir,
hear.
you can start,
Yes,
sir,
sir,
please.
we can see your slides.
Sorry. Sir, so now the Government of India under National Digital Health Mission, now they decided to develop the National Digital Health Mission ecosystem that supports universal health coverage in an efficient, accessible, inclusive, affordable, timely and safe manner, and a seamless online platform through the provision of wide range of data. The data which we are now talking about is generally we collect the service delivery data under the program National Health Mission. So my HMIS is basically catering to RMNCHA program, the National Health Mission program, and side by side all other programs of the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, like National Vector-Borne Disease or NCDs or Prime Minister National Dialysis Program. So just a brief introduction of National Health Mission. National Health Mission was started in April 2005, and it was basically a National Rural Health Mission, basically to provide accessible, affordable, and quality health care to the rural population, especially the vulnerable group. Subsequently, in May 2013, considering that NRHM has a huge success, the government decided to launch National Urban Health Mission NUHM on 1st May 2013, and the purpose of this to cater to the need of the urban population with a focus on urban poor by reducing their out-of-pocket expenses of their health services requirement. The main programming components we are collecting under this HMIS is health system strengthening, reproductive, maternal, neonatal, child, adolescent health. Nutrition is also one of the part now, RMNCHA, and communicable diseases and other non-communicable diseases. Okay, इसको छोटा करना है यार. This one.
Sir, it's fine. You can go ahead.
Okay. I'm facing some little problem. This viewpoint, this field view help on the extreme white cover. This is not going. And some, it creates an hindrance on my screen. Radhika, can you help me out?
Sir, you can just turn off the webcam.
Webcam is
Do it. Just turn off the webcam.
No, webcam, so we have seen it. Okay. Is it all right, Radhika?
Yes, sir, better. So there was no problem from our end. We could see you perfectly earlier also.
We could see it clearly.
Okay, okay. Sure. Then now just, sorry for the interruptions. Now just I would brief you little, what is the genesis of having this HMIS? Now the HMIS we started, when the NHM was started in 2006, and UHM was started in 2013. So under NHM, we cover a broad umbrella of services, maternal health, child health, immunization, and all those, the gamut of the health services activities. Now, manually, it was not feasible to have a look, have a monitoring purpose, have a control over all these services providing under NHM. So we wanted to have a very good, elaborate, all those very simple also requirement for the MIS. So that was the technological requirements that over the 2006, when we started to conceive this HMIS, so we are having programmatic requirement. Program want to be known about their performance in the field, some additions, some modifications during this policy program. Similarly, we have some requirements. Then we have the API requirement to collect the information from various other MIS running in the ministry, inter or intra-ministry, as well as across the states, to get the real-time information on all the indicators, all the parameters which we want to monitor or which we want to deal with. And also, the MIS should be very real-time reporting. It should not be there's a lag or gap, that whatever happening in the field, it should be on a real-time basis to be available to the ministry for taking the corrections process. Our HMIS, that should be very uniquely linked with facilities. So we should know at the facility level what is happening, how the performance is there, whether it is in HR requirement, because in HMIS we collect service daily requirements as well as the HR and the infrastructure requirement. So considering the overall activities of the HMIS for which it was envisaged, we wanted to have a specific facility-wise integration with the MIS system. So we devised LGD and NIN compliance system, and we provided very interactive dashboard so that the policy maker at the Delhi headquarters or the ministry headquarters, they can see, if they wish, they can drill down and understand what is happening with the policy or the program. Radhika, yeah.
Yes, yes, sir.
So
Yes.
I'm having some problem. Now, I would like the journey, how the journey of HMIS has taken from 2008, since the inception of the HMIS, since the conception of the HMIS, we conceived it around 2006-07 and launched in 2008-09. And today we are in the 2021. So this is the journey shows the last 12 years, we have moved from the district level reporting to facility level reporting. And from the number of facility, currently we are having more than 2 lakh health facilities. Generally, this HMIS can cater the private facilities as well as the public facilities. But I'm just to inform you that currently I'm having more number of public health facilities, around 2 lakh, and around 17 or 18,000 only the private health facilities. But the system can cater both type of facilities. So we started our journey in 2008-09 with the district level reporting. Then we move on to 2011-12 with the facility-wise reporting. We moved on 2016-17 when we added some augmentation, and our facility level reaches more than 2 lakh. And this is the year in 2016, the HMIS bagged the Digital India Award in 2016. In 2019 and 20, based on our technological requirement, based on the programs requirement, most of the programs have been introduced, new challenges. So we tried to revamp the HMIS during 2019-20, and again we got this Digital India Award in December 2020 by the Honorable President of India for this HMIS 2.0 version. And currently we are having 2021. In the December we launched this national HMIS across country with a revamped, is having very strong features of identifying showing the accountability. How you are moving? You see, it is not coming. No. Okay.
So
this
everything is fine on our end.
But from my end, Radhika, I am facing difficulty. I'm not smoothly. I cannot shift the slides. Sorry. So this is the picture which I'm showing you, that on the 28th December 2020, we launched this national HMIS at the national level. We started at this at the pilot level on the July 2019. We started this pilot level. Then we conducted multiple rounds of stakeholder meetings. We conducted at least 15,000 trainers. We have provided number of multiple rounds of training at the block level, district level, state level, and ultimately when we could consolidate, we could encompass, we could consolidate all those feedbacks. Then only we launched at the national level in December 2020. Again. Okay. Now I want to highlight the feature of the HMIS. This feature of HMIS is the specific. This is a user-specific credentials. Person-specific credentials have been given in this new HMIS. That this provides a sense of accountability, a sense of responsibility. We have made a responsible the data nodal officer in each and every facility. At the same time, we have given flexibility in mapping multiple facilities to one credentials or vice versa. Because in the government setup, lots of transfer take place. The people move from one facility to another facility, and in case of any shortage, also a shortage of manpower, we have provided this facility. As I earlier told, this MyHMIS is LGD and NIN compliant, and we have already built in inter and intra-ministry integration and the state-specific integration through APIs. Very recently, we could able to succeed Rajasthan, who was having their own state-level PCTS system. We could integrate them to HMIS, and similarly, we are trying to, like Odisha and the Karnataka, those states, those are having their own state-level HMIS to integrate with the HMIS 2.0. Considering this large geography of the India and the limitations of having the good network connectivity across country, we have provided an offline bulk upload to manage the network issues. Now, this provides the real-time monitoring, and we can generate some alerts. We have provided some critical values for generating the alerts, mobile alerts as well as email alerts, and we have also using analytics by using SAS application, SAS application. Our data visualization has been improved a lot through GIS and interactive dashboards. We have provided number of inbuilt consistency checks for maintaining the data quality. We have provided the standard reports in the public domain. The public domain system providing the report shows our confidence on our system, and it provides the common man of across country, the researchers, the facilities, to see the performance of each facility wise, and the each month-wise data is available for the public domain. So we are means we are opening ourselves for the public, you can say third-party auditing or the social auditing. Again, we have provided for the for the convenience of our users, we have provided number of e-training material, and those e-training modules are available on my website on the landing page of HMIS. With this HMIS, we have made compatible with all type of devices, maybe mobile, maybe tab, and we have also provided, considering that every state in India, every state is having their own hierarchy system. Some they have some block IDs, some have health block. So just to make them each and every state to user friendly as per their convenience, we have first time in the country we have created state specific hierarchies based on the LGD. So every state has having their own hierarchy, and they can use the system as per their own requirement. And again, we are very open for periodical hand-holding training to all level of users. In fact, every week, Tuesday and Thursday, we organize training programs on HMIS for state users, for private players, for the data users, for the CMOs, state facility-wise, and all those type of facilities. Every Monday or Thursday, we provide this training. We have fixed system of hand holding the people so that this system can become a system for all. Now the government has decided that they are having number of applications in the ministry. They are working in silos. Now the ministry recently in 2018 they decided that why not we have the integrated health information platform where we should have the data, this MIS of all, means whatever MIS the ministry has, they should be on this integrated health information platform for sharing the data between them or among them. To making the data available, once data has been entered in any of the platform of the ministry, the same data need not to getting data entered by any of the means, and it should be at the same time available to all other programs across the ministry. So we have devised this IHIP. It's a very good platform. Currently, we are having some of our applications are on this IP information platform. HMIS is one of them. We are having another very big application, that is IDSP, Integrated Disease Surveillance Program, Malaria Program. So all this and others are coming up slowly and slowly. So this IHIP provides an integration platform very easily because most of the things are common. We have the common masters, LGD, NIN. So connecting and integrating each and every application across this platform becomes very easy. And once data is received on any of the platform, can be utilized by some other program as per their requirement. So now just I will show in brief that how this HMIS work. HMIS is the means facility level application. The entry is to be done by the facility level where we have given the enter data sub center. So the lowest level unit of data entry is sub center. We have written as SC, where the health worker, those ANM or those ASHA, those they can enter the data on this application. We have provided user credentials to more than 2.25 lakh people. So they provide the data. If they have no consolidated PHC, if it's a consolidated subcenter report, they can go and fill up at PHC level if they are having some connectivity issues at the subcenter level. Similarly, CSC, sub-district level hospital, SDH, and the district level hospital, they provide the data directly on the HMIS portal. And we are also having a concept of DHQ notional district headquarter notion, where any data which is not being entered by these 4-5 my services facilities, that can be compiled and collected and entered by DHQ. So we have ensured that whatever service health facility we are providing at the field, so we are able to capture whether by these 5 regular mechanisms, the facilities, and the 6th one we have made is notional data district headquarter, we call DHQ level. So any item, any service is not to be entered in the HMIS. We are not leaving any services which are not being captured by the HMIS. Now I would very briefly show the process flow for these health facilities. Now first user, the login and the select facilities. The first user at any facility, they log in and they select their facilities, they submit the data. Immediately after submitting the data, they get the data status report. This is my first quality check. What type of data they have entered, whether the data is complete in sense, whether some discrepancy is there, whether some initial checks are there. So first level quality level check. Because we are of the view that data quality is to be built in, and the quality is to be ensured for the very first level the data is being entered. Once the data means data has been entered, so quality checks to be there according this, the completeness, the timelines, and all those things. So this is the first level quality check has been imposed. After that, data is being analyzed for some other more parameters, some other more checks, validations, etc. And then a follow-up activities is done with the facilities for any data discrepancies. So this is the second level check. While entering the data at the local, the field level is being done. And only then it is coming to the user. And we have also ensured the data in the field should be entered in the system by 5th of next month. So this data is being entered every 5th of the next month. So this data is very dynamic, and we have provided very strong checks at the data entry level itself at the field level. Now, I would like to show that how the quality assurance has been strengthened and made in our performance monitoring. So on the left hand side, I have shown you that whatever the service delivery, HR, physical infrastructure, equipment, laboratory services, drugs and diagnostics, drugs and vaccines. So these 6 type basic formats I am having, 6 basic, you can say, categorization or the classification of services I'm means collecting from the field. Then after having 1 or 2 very strong quality checks, the data is being come to my central data quality assurance process, where we again put this validation checks and where we again put the different level of verification, whether this comparability with the earlier month, where there is any means child and parent relationship. So we all take the data. Here it is doing the in-depth analysis. So quality is being ensured now before releasing to user, before releasing for any other use. Now data is being so churned out. So this is the data quality assurance structure, one of the very important and the fundamental aspect of passing through these 3 checks, validation checks, and number of the verifications. We release the data for the report generations, and then data goes for the standard reports. We have the real-time reports input for the my program division. They have the login ID, and they can collect the data for their program aspect, program purpose. And we are also having program interventions where program people, my other divisions, they can see the data, they can validate by having their own checks and balances and then we get the data for the publications. So here, this is our main, what I should say, main overall focus is the quality on the HMIS. Now, just I want to brief you that whatever we are having the reporting formats and the periodicity. We are having periodicity as a monthly as of date, but we are also collecting daily data for some of this COVID related information. Very key indicators we are collecting on daily basis. Service delivery data we are getting from as I told you earlier, sub-center wise, primary health center, community health service center, sub-district hospital, district hospital, and district headquarters. So these 6 are my nodal facilities for providing service deliveries. And on the right hand side, I'm showing you how we collect the infrastructure and HR data we collect. And for this infrastructure data, we have devised our SDH into bed, number of bed. Now we have classified subdivisional sub-district hospital in 2 categories based on the number of beds, like 31 to 50 beds and 51 to 100 beds. Similarly, for the district hospital, we are having so many classifications. So this is our basic formats, and the periodicity is as on date. We are having monthly date periodicity for these 2 service delivery. And this, I would also like to inform you that whatever the field we are collecting, now in this day, we have devised overall 5 broad classification categorization under our HMIS system. We call part A, B, C, and E, where part A is dedicated for reproductive and child health. Under this, we have module M1, M2, M3. Total, we are having 25 modules divided into these 5 broad classification. And within this M1 that I'm writing, it is antenatal care services. So we are having all antenatal care services under this M1 module. Now, just I want to showcase you what type of services we are having and we collect in our HMIS. Now, total number of pregnant women registered for ANC services, pregnant women with hypertension, and pregnant women with anemia, with gestational diabetes, and with syphilis. So these 5 to 6 items we collect under antenatal care system, module. Similarly, we are having another modules like deliveries, cesarean, all those. I'm not going to show you all those things, but later every module is having 6-7 items, and the total this indicator or the data items are related to each facility wise. And I'll show further that we are having standard formats for facility wise. So the standard formats. Now,
Sir, can you take 2-3 minutes to complete?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead, sir. We are running out of time. Please take some few minutes to complete 2-3 minutes.
Okay. Now we are showing you some of the formats, infrastructure and HR formats, whatever type of services we are collecting. This is the specialist services we are having, paramedical services and services. Similarly, the physical infrastructure, size of the beds, location, OTs, delivery suite, physiotherapy, hospital services, all those physical infrastructure. And then under the HR, we are collecting doctors, paramedical staff, OT staff, blood bank staff, and all those. And investigative and laboratory services, capacity building, equipment, drugs. So all these different sort of activities we are collecting our HMIS. So this is certain reports which I was discussing, that standard reports, they are ready to download, available in the public domain, real time, that is query based customized report. Here the user can make their own query. Some grading of health facilities, analytical reports we are having. We are having very good interactive dashboard, which I would like to show. On the extreme right, we can show the select the district, state, and the time. And accordingly that we can show this is a dynamic dashboard. The selection made it dynamic. Currently, we are showing on the upper extreme this row, we are showing number of health facilities, rural urban classification, and sub-center their facility type information. On the next, these circles, they are showing the daily reporting system, the service delivery, HR, and infrastructure. And these are showing our CHC grading. These are analytical parts. I'm showing that we provide 2 types of grading on PHCs and the CHCs. So these gradings are also available. For the grading, we have very robust mechanism, and for that the PHC and the CHC grading is being shown to everybody. And here we are showing the facility wise on the extreme left, facility wise service delivery. Like district headquarters, they are showing service delivery, they have entered for the 90%, and the 47% they are showing the HR and the infrastructure. I'm also having GIS reports. Let me introduce this GIS output, what I'm having. This is the HMIS from the left-hand side. On the left pane, we can select form, monthly service delivery, infrastructure, HR, and all those. Indicator we can select. So for example, for the sake of just illustration, I have selected allopathic OPD. Then the state Karnataka, all districts we have taken. And once we show search, so on the right-hand side, it is showing the all the facilities. All the facilities currently I have selected SDH facility type sub-district hospital. That is why it is showing sub-district hospital. So otherwise we have this primary health facilities, health sub-center, district and community health center. So this is a very strong GIS report which can be shown that where our locality facility is having. Similarly, we are having a heat map of our HMIS key indicator mapping. Again, on the same indicator, we have selected for the month, we are showing this heat map of this Karnataka state, where this allopathic outpatient is Karnataka. This is my GIS reports. Now, just let me dwell something on data quality. Again, we have since the data quality, we have focused on with these 7 stages or the 7 pillars of the data quality. What we say, first, the data should be accurate. It should be the timelines and the punctuality to be observed. Data should be complete, accessibility and the clarity, comparability, coherence, and the relevance. So these are our dimensions, the aspects of data quality around which our whole HMIS works. Now that we see when we see hall facilities, so separate formats are there, facility-wise formats are there, and each facility they are having their variable content. And data item is suited to their categorization, their requirement. Means every facility is able to see their own facilities, their own item, which is relevant to them. Completeness, their coverage, redundancy, missing values, accuracy, validation checks, and the consistency of data through comparability with the previous month, and all the timelines, as we are already said, that 5th of the next month data is to be provided. Now the data quality validation, we have put in interdata validation checks, comparability checks, random checks of the data with registers at our facility level. We take the random field visit through ministry, as well as Niti Aayog is also taking some this random checks for getting their other reports published. So we have this mechanism for the random checks at the facility level. We check the registers as well as the HMIS entry and get the things quality updated. Random checks of the HMIS data, we call for the registers which they maintain, and then we see our facility. Supportive supervision by the staff to verify the HMIS data, and at the spot itself, we clarify their doubts and confirm the data. During common review mission of the ministry, this HMIS data is extensively used, and again the data is being verified by this CRM through the field visits. And we are having a network of 18 population research centers across country. These PRCs are also involved in the data verification exercise of these HMIS data, in addition to their state counterpart. Now I would like to brief something how we are maintaining and strengthening this data ecosystem. We first assess this data accuracy, whether the data is accurate, whether data is recent and up to date, whether data is complete and data is validated. So if it is trustworthy, only then we collect the data. The data collection can be completed manual or automated process through APIs. Set of the processes have been designed to transform raw data into set of information. So again, we are put some analysis. We have SAS, very powerful tool, and we use WRS, that is the SAS component, for making this analytical and data visualization. And again, we have a very cloud storage of this data. Storage of the data can be means there is no problem. More than 3 TB data we are having as on date. Now the health data ecosystem. Now the HMIS users in the say in the middle, and we are having district data manager. We are having state data managers. We are having ASHA, ANMs, at the national level, the program divisions, and the state or UT level, the program divisions. Similarly, on the right hand side, I'm showing this triangle, how the data is moved and who are the ecosystem is being maintained at the facility level, at the block level, district level, state level, and the central level. And we have ensured that every meeting on the health, this HMIS or the health service delivery taken by any of our policy maker is being done on HMIS. So where the state districts CMOs they are taking, or the civil surgeon they are taking the meeting at the district level, or the DM are taking the meeting at the district level, they use our HMIS report for their performance monitoring. So a data ecosystem has been built across, say initially from the village level, block level, district level, state level, and the national level. So everybody at every level uses HMIS data extensively for the performance monitoring of their program. Now I would like to show that how many this HMIS, the health facility reporting, they are having around 164 sub-centers. They are having around 33,000 primary health centers, 16,000 CSC, and around 2987 SDH and 1264 SDH. And among this, we are also having around 75,000 health and wellness center, which have been tagged in by HMIS as sub-center SWC or the PSC SWC. And we are having some private facilities also. There are around 12,000 private facilities they are reporting on our HMIS. Now, again, I am having service delivery captured. There are more than 300 plus data items. As I am showing, they are showing the sub-center, there are 179 items which are relevant to small sub-centers. There, as far as one district hospital are concerned, they are having around 305 data items on which they are providing monthly data to HMIS. And if we consider infrastructure and infrastructure and HR, the data items are more than 400. So it's a very big, elaborate data items and the monitoring system which the country is currently having. There you can see the 36 states UTs are working, 735 districts, 6858 sub-districts, over 2 lakh health facilities, more than 3 TB data we are having, and concurrent users, they are at any time, they are in the range of 1,500 to 2,000 concurrent users. The HMIS, so we collect a vast gamut of health services, HR, infrastructure activities on our HMIS. So it is being used extensively also. Performance evaluation in the National Program Coordination Committee for PIP, Program Implementation Plan, annual plan of the states, where we give some funding to under NHM to the states, where we support some NHM funding to the states. We have also relied the program parliament questions. We have shared this data to PM Prime Minister dashboard. It is called Prayas dashboard. Our HFM Honorable Health and Family Ministry Minister, their central dashboard, and OGD platform. So we are open for the public under this OGD platform. Monitoring visit like CRM and the supportive supervision visits, grading of CSC, PSCs, all used by conditionality framework for incentive or disincentive under NHM. So this NHM envelope, it contains certain conditionality framework. So HMIS plays an important role for providing incentive to some of the states, or if they are not performing well on the HMIS, so they also lose their money. So we have created that type of ecosystem according from the state to the national level and across all the facilities. That means whatever you want to inform, please have on HMIS. Again, aspirational districts, the monitoring. Aspirational districts health service or the health status of aspirational districts. Currently, we are having 108 aspirational districts. It is being monitored through HMIS. Scorecard based on RM and CHA. We provide scorecards to the facilities. The state level also. DH ranking and Ministry of WCD. We provide WCD on Beti Bachao and Beti Padhao program. HMIS data is used by Disha portal by Ministry of RD, and HMIS data is also being used by Ministry of Tribal Affairs for tribal district health monitoring. So it is means the credentials of HMIS, the trust of the HMIS has been shown by this. I have listed only 4 or 5 shown by many stakeholders. Again, we are using this HMIS to bring out our annual HMIS publication. It is being national and state level publication. Some of the states, like they bring out HMIS bulletin. Like Swasthank is in the state of Chhattisgarh, and HMIS bulletin in Uttar Pradesh. I've just noted two. And the state level, district level, we provide the fact sheets. Fact sheets we can triangulate the data, play with the data using SAS and get this desired fact sheets as required by the district level. Population census and various public surveys, they have used HMIS, newspaper articles, and all the research purpose, all the researchers within the country and outside the country, they rely on HMIS data. Now I'm just showing the conditionality framework which I have discussed, that rating of the district hospital in terms of input and service delivery. What is the conditionality framework which is based on HMIS data? At least this is a conditionality framework based on which they've got 20% less than 20, 10, minus 10 to plus 10, and plus 5 to minus 5. This is incentive based. This is an incentive percentage of their means whatever their amount is due. So which either we incentivize them or disincentivize based on the performance of the states on the HMIS reporting. Currently being shared with all those which we have discussed also, and we are sharing with the CoWIN portal. So this CoWIN portal has an API with our HMIS. And considering this all HMIS activities we are doing, we are providing a health ecosystem from village level, sub-center level to the national level. And the government of India has recognized this role of the HMIS and the team HMIS by giving us this Digital India Award in 2016 and very recently in 2020. And the Honorable President of India has given this Digital India Award to team HMIS. So I'm with this, I would like to thanks, and I'm ending my presentation, open to question and answers.
Yeah,
please.
Thank you very much, sir. It was excellent presentation, but of course we have the paucity of the time also. Now we have the discussant in the name of Dr. Sridhar Srikanth, Technical Director, Bihar Care India. He is an MD Pediatrics and a Robert H. Humphrey Fellow 2001. He has been involved in the design, implementation, operations research, monitoring and evaluation of wide range of community health and public health initiatives in India over the past 30 years in the NGO and public health sectors. He was country team leader in India of USAID's flagship technical assistance program for child survival basics between 2002 and 2007, closely supporting Care India Integrated Nutrition and Health Project, INHP, which is called. He has provided the direct technical assistance for the design and implementation of key initiatives of the ICDS program at the national level, as well as the malaria and leishmaniasis components of the National Vector-Borne Diseases Control Program, which is the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare Program. Sir, next 10 minutes belongs to you. You please discuss the various aspects of this, the presentation, as well as the quality issues of HMIS. Next 10 minutes belongs to you, sir. Dr. Sridhar, please take over.
Thank you, Dr. Rao, for inviting me over to this. It's one of my favorite topics I will talk about. And Dr. Rojna, excellent presentation. And I think we should be, as a country, congratulating ourselves for having continuously evolved in the HMIS system, a tremendous achievement in terms of having a digital MIS that covers the entire country, carpets across the whole country, fairly standard format with centralized information with data quality checks like Dr. Roja described, and covering the whole practically domain of health. It's an amazing achievement, and it's something that we should be most happy about. And also, things like, for example, the aspiration to make it real time. Since now once a month, probably it can become real time. Or there are ways in which to make it real time. Bringing everything together on a common portal, and which has the, once you make it modular like that, you can actually bring in almost any kind of information into that kind of architecture. So these are all excellent achievements. I think we should be most happy with this. What I make a few, provide a few thoughts based on my experience as a public health practitioner, having seen public health programs work at and at granular levels, how they get designed, implemented, monitored, evaluated, interpreted, and then how things get corrected on what basis. So it's a very interesting ecosystem, and HMIS obviously is an important component of that. And based on that, let me just say a few things. One part of it is when you have a system that essentially is about collecting information from numerous units and getting that to report upwards, which is something very well known, so I'm not saying anything new over here, but the immediate pressure is on data quality, simply because somebody is going to see my data and I'm going to get beaten up for the data that I myself have reported. So that's something that is there, and we should keep this basic way in which people respond to their own and basically handle their own data while we help the HMIS evolve further. And I think this is one of the central tenets. Where exactly do we intervene to make sure that we get good data? And that begs the question: who requires this data most immediately? By the time it gets reported on the 5th and then processed and put out as reports, and the central government is doing an excellent job of that part of it. The people on the ground are already fully aware of what's happened, and therefore the users require interventions at far more granular levels. That is, when I know that something has happened or has not happened in my geography or in my facility, I know, my supervisor knows, probably my supervisor's boss also knows at the block level, for example. How do we create an ecosystem that enables action at that level, corrective action? Is it possible to do something with the HMIS so that it becomes more readily accessible to people at more granular levels as analyzed data? Related to this is the question of, in addition to the fear of reporting aggregate numbers and being beaten up for that, why do I require to report aggregate numbers? How quickly can we move to point of care data entry by the person who is providing care, whether it's a nurse or an ASHA or an A&M or a doctor or whatever? How quickly can I know this is not something that's going to happen overnight, but that should be our aspiration ultimately. We don't require an army of data entry operators to operate the HMIS. It needs to come as an incidental a product, an incidental product of a well protocolized, well managed health service program, or all programs. So getting from data entry to the end user, particularly the interface that is used by end users, let us say whether it's the ASHA or the A&M or whoever else, or the doctor or the nurse, can that be visualized as a job aid rather than a data entry interface, where the job aid makes my job as a nurse or a doctor easier? It helps me do it more efficiently, more effectively. It reduces the chances of my being beaten up by my seniors because I did something wrong, because it tells me where I'm going wrong, and so on and so forth. So can we convert the end user interface into a job aid and then generate whatever? And you see, the moment you convert it into a job aid, you'll have the data that is quote unquote collected is far more granular than anything that you can possibly capture in a data entry system, HMIs. So that level of granular data then becomes available to immediate users like the supervisors, first level supervisors particularly, who are the primary users of this data. And these are all requirements that we see coming up when we look at how this data is being used on the ground, and that's where I'm coming from. And that again is used to basically the use of the culture of the use of the data. Are we using data to help people improve their own performance? Are we using it to essentially beat them, essentially punish them for not having done the right thing? How do we change that? What is the role of a supervisor? What's the role of a first level supervisor? Why is it that in our ecosystem of information, we don't have any data collected by a supervisor company for all practical, particularly first level supervisors? When we say, for example, we have supervisory apps of different kinds, that those collect information by somebody coming from the national level to the state level or the state level to the district level to monitor. But what about the first level supervisors? Here, for example, the ASHA facilitators, the ANMs, the ANM supervisors, the LHVs, for example. So that, how can we add that to the ecosystem and make that more richer, make the local use of data more intuitive? And rather than using service data for review purpose, reported service data and aggregate numbers for review purposes and saying, okay, why have you not performed well? Why have you not, your report says this time that you have done only so many pregnancy registrations. Why don't you do more? She knows what she has done, she has not done. The next level supervisor is the best person suited to know why she has not done or done whatever. As the boss at the block or district level, I have lesser of a clue, and even at a higher level, even lesser. So, how can we push this to more decentralized levels? So, taking this, can we reimagine HMIS to mean something more than the service data? Service data, that's, for example, the service delivery data, service coverage data that we get from end users, and the system data, for example, infrastructure, supplies, etc. The fund flow data, the human resource data, etc. All of that is there. But what else can we add to this that will make this richer and useful? So one, as I mentioned, can we add to the HMIS itself some kind of supervisory data? Can supervisors at each level add some value rather than saying, okay, this is what the ANM has reported, it goes all the way to Delhi without anybody in the middle having any much say about it? Can everyone as a supervisor add value to it and justify why the data is what it is, or say what is going to be done about it? And that will make them actually more accountable. Finally, why is there some way that we can imagine the HMIS as a system to include completely independent data? Why are we not using more frequently or more systemically the strategy of generating independent? We depend upon NFHS that comes every few years. Why doesn't every state have a system of generating independent survey data, independent facility assessment data, clinical quality data, and so on and so forth, which are by just exactly has the same level of quality, for example, quality checks as NFHS. And what does it cost? In the Bihar experience, we are finding that probably around 10 to 15 crores a year for state level. And that kind of a system, when you set up, it doesn't have to be used only by the health department. That same system can be used by multiple departments. So you have an independent source of data, which then can become the basis of review rather than saying, okay, whatever you have reported to me, let me review you on that. So these are some of the ideas that I think we should grapple with and see how close we can go to this kind of a broader HMIS imagination. A couple of small things. At some point, we shifted the reporting from population unit, geographical units to facilities. Once you move to, for example, if you imagine that eventually Anmol and a similar ASHA app will replace the aggregate data that is reported in HMIS, it becomes much easier then to generate the same data in cut it whichever way you want. You can view it facility wise, you can view it population unit wise. And you can make it available in different permutations and combinations to different users at different lengths. So probably, though there was a good reason for moving to facility-wise, probably it's time to also add on the population perspective to this. There are several other issues. One I'll just call out most importantly. A lot of the HMIS is about inputs and impact in terms of data. Intermediate variables are in many programs lacking. Typically, as a program person, when I am trying to understand whether a certain impact is being achieved or not, what I want to know is what was the program, how was the program supposed to achieve impact in the first place? What intermediate variables were supposed to change before the impact changed? In which case, does the HMIS, again, in the broader conception of the HMIS, can we make the HMIS rich enough to tell me if something has changed, why it has not changed? If it has changed, why it has changed? And that will be a powerful tool to provide to the first level, second level supervisors who are really the persons going to change the effectiveness of programs. I'll stop.
Thank you very much. You are on dot. So now I'll move on to the second discussant, Priya Emart. Is the Deputy Director of the Center for Monitoring and Evaluation and Advocacy at Avenir Health with over 20 years of international and domestic health experience. She leads the Track 20 projects, work with the Ministers of Health in over 30 countries through annual global training and mentorship, both through in-country technical workshops and analysis of routine data. As the technical lead of Avenir Health on the USAID Momentum Country and Global Leadership Project, Ms. Emart has supported global reviews of HIMS data, indicator measurement and monitoring, and is working on integrated gender analysis into work on family planning and maternal health. She serves on the Family Planning Financing Reference Group, the Performance Monitoring and Evidence Working Group of FE 2030, and the Postpartum Technical Working Group for FE 2020. Ms. Emart began her global public health career through the Michigan Fellow Program in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Ms. Emart holds a MPH degree from the Johns Hopkins Bloomsburg School of Public Health and MSW from Smith's College in Massachusetts. Her first degree is in economics from Smith's College. So she is a very well-known person, and I request you, ma'am, next 10 minutes belongs to you. You please discuss about these issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I wanted to start by thanking Population Council and I think it's the National Data Quality Forum for inviting me to be a panelist. Thank you for this. I also wanted to thank the presenter, Mr. Ojha, for taking us through what has really been a very comprehensive evaluation and report of the new HMIS system. And it really looks like it's a substantial architecture meant to make data available, visible to multiple users, and used, and as you point out, by many. And also, you walked us through some multiple mechanisms to review data quality. I should also say that I really like the idea of the discussant, Dr. Srinath, who talked about the idea of reimagining HMIS. In the work I do, we sort of plod along. We're always trying to sort of do incremental work. So it's wonderful to sort of switch it a bit, the conversation, and say, how can we reimagine HMIS? How can we say that data generation is not just at the provider level, but really is about feedback and contextualization of performance by supervisors along the pathway up to the national level where such data is being used. I had a few questions for Mr. Ojha, and also I was asked to talk a little bit about some best practices in data quality that I've observed in my work in other countries. So if I may, I'll begin with my questions and then switch if that's okay. So some of my questions are, very basically, does the system that we have now, the HMIS system, provide a way to highlight which health areas, which state districts appear to have consistent data quality problems and which ones do well? So in terms of trends information, how is that being used specifically as you're using these conditionality mechanisms? I'm also specifically interested in the results that you've had from those implementation of conditionality and who reviews that and what is done with that information. So once you've imposed some kind of conditionality, do you see impacts in data quality, in performance? Do you see a change? And if you don't, how are you thinking about it essentially? I also wanted to sort of dovetail on what was said by the first discussant relative to the volume of data that's produced. And I was wondering about what proportion of these indicators that exist in the system, the data elements that exist, are being reviewed by the program. And I'm thinking here about the data collected by ASHAs, the volume of data that they collect, and the data that actually makes it into these consolidated reports. And it seems to me that there might be issues of an undue burden, and this is not, specific to India. It's happening generally. Providers, especially the community level, are collecting a ton of data, and only a small amount of it is aggregated upstream. So the question is, has the system or the program been thinking about some of the potential purpose incentives then for data quality? And finally, just for my own information, and especially as we are feeding back information to other countries, I'm interested in the way, I think you spoke about information on HR, budget, supply chain being integrated into this ecosystem of HMIS. And it'd be really interesting to understand any progress. And here, when you had shown that architecture of different health areas, what I was fundamentally interested in is, how is such data triangulated? For example, for a particular program, the drugs that might be essential, stockouts that need to be monitored, HR and trained providers, and budget, not just allocation, but actual use of budget, whether we can triangulate such information so that you actually have a story to tell as opposed to sort of disparate bits of information. So switch now to, I'll pause there. Should I wait for, or should I just continue? Dr. Rao, shall I go ahead? I can hear you. I'll go ahead.
Should I respond?
I can go ahead and very quickly summarize. Dr. Rao, you're muted.
Rao sir, you are muted.
Ma'am, you are completed. You have completed. Have you completed your discussion?
No. So I'm just going to go directly now into some questions that I was asked to talk about, which is about other country experiences and practices in data quality. And I'm going to place them in certain buckets. The bucket of governance, the bucket of health systems, and the bucket of sort of capacities. And I place governance as sort of the main thing, because it seems to be the most important factor in the multiple countries where I work, the most important factor in data quality. And so under governance, I would place things like better integration of HMIS and program divisions. So the less siloed the departments, we have found the better the interpretation of data and the better ability to catch data quality issues that may have passed standard data quality checks. So the standard checks that you talked about, Mr. Ojha, completeness of data, consistency, outliers, things like that you have already, validation sort of errors that you have programmed, which is very important. Those things, you might pass all those checks, but the data might be fundamentally in error. And that is something that only somebody from the program would be able to catch, because they'd be able to interpret what that particular volume of data might mean. Incentives for data quality, you've talked about this in terms of conditionality, but experience in other countries have also shown positive incentives especially relating to performance-based financing, have led to substantial improvements in routine data quality. Rwanda is a good example here, where HMIS data provides the basis for these performance-based financing incentives. So the Ministry of Health essentially instituted a very rigorous system of data quality checks, and the staff are engaged in sort of a conversation with providers of facilities, because the entire ministry benefits from these incentives, but providers especially do. And then in terms of, I think another big one under governance is about leadership, and I can't say enough about it. There seems to be, it seems to be a very critical factor in many countries where we see improvements in data quality from very poor to startling improvements where they look very good against external benchmarks. So data champions within programs are, because what they're doing is providing that focus on information that you can trust, as opposed to information on whether you're achieving targets. So you're sort of changing the directionality of thinking around data. And in terms of health systems, I will say that what you've shown is very clear. Having embedded data quality checks, validation rules, etc., has been very important. And I did want to ask here, one of the things that I noticed that seems in the system of data quality checks is the absence of external benchmarking. And this is something that's recommended by WHO for certain, and quite a few countries are doing this because they really need to understand between surveys, what does their data mean? If their volumes are increasing, is it real? And how would they know? And the good way to sort of check that, again, is looking at modeled estimates, surveys, etc. And the other major innovation that many countries have gone through is, of course, unlike in India, a lot over 80 countries have used the DHIS2 platform. And really, what I think the reason it's really been successful in multiple countries is that it's strong adherence to sort of principles of a platform where you can build upon multiple things, including those that you didn't originally plan for in your technical work. So I would say it doesn't mean that the DHIS2 platform is better than what you've created. Obviously, what you've created is impressive and extensive, but this is about other countries and what they've done and been able to do quickly. I'll stop there, actually. I'll just stop there because time's running out.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Your national and international kind of experience and your discussion on that. So before we move to the questions of the participants, I would request Dr. Ojaji to briefly give answers to the two discussants. Then we'll take few questions as the time is running out.
Thank you. Thank you, my two panelists, Dr. Sridhar and Dr. Imad. And actually, you have asked many things, which I think I require another 1 or 2 hours to share this information with you all. So that's why initially I shared with you, sir. Now, this first query, very fundamental question, that who provides the quality measures and how we ensure the quality in the HMIs. I think this is the common question which both the panelists have asked. Sir, my humble submission is that every data user in the HMIS is the supervisor of the data quality. Because we have provided the full accountability, we have provided him the enough quality checks, and as soon as immediately he enters the data, he's get to know what are the shortcomings. We have provided the offline data quality tools there. This tool is being downloaded from my HMIS system, and currently it is being used in most of the facilities. So every user, whenever he fills up data, that he operates that tool, he clicks that tool, the module, it runs offline as well as online also, but offline also in my remote village area, and based on that tool, it throws the information whether, okay, the person has given, suppose out of 100 information, how many he has filled, how many were filled impartially, how many were incorrect, how many were not within the range, how many were outliers, and so initial, you can say, a check has been built in the system to provide the quality data. And without this tool, the data cannot be shifted, transferred to our online system, the server. So first and the foremost quality check, which has been means it is inbuilt, is that tool. So whatever data the person provides, it has to pass through that quality checks. So it is not there are validation checks, so many validation checks, ma'am. The parent-child checks. Now number of doctors, number of the OPD, number of the labs, number of the tests done, OT and what are the surgery, the blood bank versus the blood transfusion, all those things, number of the HR. So this is a very strong quality check we have provided at the initial table. So that is the first, ma'am. So each and every user has become the quality inspector by default. So we have ensured that. Number two, ma'am, the ecosystem, this is a hierarchy-based, role-based monitoring system. So once this quality data has been shifted to another user, so on their hierarchy, then they also use their own tools because it is an hierarchy-based. So if suppose after verifying this quality, some garbage has come into the system, so that garbage will be immediately alerted out. And the next level will again apply the tool, and based on the defined gradings, based on the refined verification module, that data will again be quality checked, and that has to pass through this quality gate. So this is the second gate of the quality. And the third is, madam, that at any time, means after 15 days, weekly, in the state or the district, we have the system of meetings. So at the block level, weekly meetings, at the state level or the district level, we have the fortnightly meeting concept, and the district level, there is a concept of monthly meeting. So we give, why we ensure this? We ensure enough funding for holding these meetings. We have the experience in our India that most of the meetings were not being taken place because of the funds crunch. But over the last 5 to 10 years, we have made enough funding for having these meetings at the village level, block level, district level. So the funds has not a problem. So they very regularly they conduct and they give us the compliance report. And whatever, madam, that we have as a log system on our system. So whatever those activities is being done on my HMIS is being verified at our level also. So that meeting we discuss around the say program like RCH sir has taken the name of RCH Anmol. So reproductive child health officer, he also come in the meeting, and our HMIS nodal officer also attend the meeting. Then they cross verify their data, which is means always say I'm not saying 100%, but it always matches. The trend shows because RCH they are having their line listing, I am having consolidated figure. So they are matching in the sense that quality is being ensured in system. And then, ma'am, we are actually, sir has mentioned that we are providing job aid. So job aid we are providing in the sense that when RCH meet our nodal officer, HMIS nodal officer, then they plan accordingly what is the plan for the next month and how the data is being now, what the data is telling for both the program managers like RCH, and there are so many, madam, NCD, palliative care, and so on. So whatever data is being told to them as a program coordinator and what the HMIS data shares. So there is a sharing of the information between these two, and this again provides, let's say, cross balance, cross check, and multiple level of individual checks. They fight in the field if some discrepancy is being observed because their program, they are reporting on their program, that becomes difficult. And at the national level, madam, as I told you also, we are having intra and intra ministerial APIs integration platform. So suppose RCH Anmol, they give some figure to their RCH program. So through API, our HMIS is able to see whether they are means providing the exact figure or not. Similarly, our HR Anmol, they take this API figure, some of these figures. So there is a transformation. There is a sharing of data at the national level also. So at the village level, we are having a different concept for maintaining the data quality, and at the means highest level, we are having taken the help of technology, these APIs. And through APIs, madam, we are sharing the data and ensuring the data is being properly maintained and built. And that is why we are having so much confidence of researchers like you all. They are showing, they are using this HMIS data for their. And madam, again, this data, whatever we are providing, this is not the data being generated only. We are using it. So it gives the user, the facility worker, a sense of pride when we get them grading their district is moving up 1 level up or 2 level up. So this is a sense of pride among the user, sense of the pride and the motivation among the, say, district magistrates in our district in context of India, and the civil surgeon, that okay, their region or their district it is doing well. So they always try to maintain that quality. And there is a tough competition among these districts to maintain that first, second, third level, because it is being visualized at the apex level. When their health secretary or when their topmost officers, they supervise or they take the review meetings, they always take this HMIS data. They have the full confidence because this data is being scrutinized so many checks now. And data is validated. So ma'am, again, give me one more moment, ma'am. Now the impact and this intermediate level, we also have, sir, you are rightly mentioned that when the program is running, how to identify that program at certain point was not up to the point, and this is the point of time where the intervention is required. So sir mentioned that how to identify that break-even point where the program is going out of its objective or not meeting its target objective. So sir, in the system we have this midterm level delivery. So whenever the program is there, we have deliverable quantities, deliverable fixed. Say after moving to 6 months or launching of the 6 months or 8 months of this program, we have fixed certain deliveries. If we are not meeting, the system gives us an alert, okay, your program is not meeting your envisaged target. So that is how we keep on this track of the program also. And it is very transparent, madam. Our program divisions, they are also having the same concern that their program, their scheme should be run very well, should run very well. So they always keep a track on our HMIS data. They always keep a track on their other state level information, other level information, what they were getting, and then they cross check. Then there is a lot of variations if they found. So I don't think that in the recent future, in the recent past, we have found any deviations from the facility level user or our national level user.
So thank you, sir, for your. Okay, you still here?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Please.
Madam, you asked that what is the conditionalities, how we impose the conditionalities for incentivizing and disincentivizing these states. So any system, ma'am, the states, nobody wants disincentive. So we have not given disincentive to any state, whether now only states are fighting for their incentives, because incentive is something which they get some pride, which they can use for some other more programs and the more things. So they always keep track on HMIs. Every month, madam, every month in the state headquarters, their health secretary, their principal secretary, they take the meeting. What is going on? Because it ultimately it helps for their funding. So any program, if it cuts their funding, they always see their challenges and try to resolve those issues at their own level. Because it is the joint responsibility, madam. The fixing of the quality or the maintaining the data flow is not the only responsibility of HMIs, but we have created such an ecosystem that it has become a joint responsibility from the ANM to Chief Secretary to our national level health secretary in the government of India. We always all are equally collaborative efforts we put in. We try to handhold, we try to resolve their issues and making the system very viable and supportive. We do not disincentives to, we do not give but we also give regards and the rewards to them. And ma'am, daily during the COVID also, ma'am, during the COVID, we provided that consolidated figures across the states and across the facilities for their pregnant women, for people having some dialysis problem, for people suffering from stroke or the heart-related environment. And our district team, the doctors have visited those facilities, conducted a small camp, and even visiting the individual beneficiaries in their houses. So in that, during the COVID pandemic, when the system was logged, we use our HMIS system to identify the area or the block based on our GIS mapping, that this block is having more number of persons having same common ailment. So we send a team to get these things verified, and we have provided the door-to-door services during COVID. Now for data quality and that there's a program level, multi-level discussions, stakeholder alerts, that are the shared indicators. There are certain positive indicators, there are certain negative indicators. So everything, madam, we have been very open to our stakeholders. That's why I'm saying, ma'am, during last 6 months only, we have trained around 15 to 16,000 people across the country on various aspects of our HMIS. So thanks to your concern, ma'am. And one thing, small thing, ma'am, you also mentioned this survey and HMIS. So, ma'am, NFHS, as on date, government has decided to conduct NFHS every 3 years, but NFHS 5th round now has been completed and the results are on. So, ma'am, we have observed that there is a close proximity, there is an appropriateness, because it's a consolidated figure and administrative data of HMIS, they are matching each other. They are matching, they are showing the same trend what the NFHS has projected. So again, the NFHS, these surveys, they are strengthening the HMIS quality. And very soon, ma'am, we may move towards SDGs, providing this HMIS indicator. So we are planning in that. We are taking more indicators which may suit our SDGs, because we are not taking SDGs into our data items. But now we are planning to take those data items directly from the field. And very soon, ma'am, we will be providing this SDG indicator through HMIS also. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Sir, thank you very much. Actually, you have covered almost all the answers with elaborate explanation. Most of the answers have been covered. And coming 10 minutes, sir, we'll take few questions and very quick answers. But in the meantime, I also wanted to tell you, I am receiving many messages congratulating you for our excellent presentation. And the participants have enjoyed your presentation and learned many things. Got the messages I am receiving. Before that, sir, it is very difficult for us to take all the questions, but all the questions will be answered through mail and their respective mail. Before that, sir, we'll take few questions with your quick answers. The first question I'll read out. Can HMIS be accessed by public outside government? And also provide the link to reports published by HMIS. This is Dr. Jayant Bantiaji. I think you know him also. Bantia, sir. Yeah, this is his question, sir. Please a quick answer.
Bantia, sir, namaskar. First of all, thank you, sir. And now you have shown a great interest earlier in NFHS. You have been associated with this division, my division. So I'm really thankful and welcome you, sir. Regarding your question, sir, this HMIS as a database is not available to public. We are providing into OGD platform, that open government database. Through there, you can take the facility-wise unit level data. You can get the data. And sir, HMIS, the standard reports are always available on HMIS. If you write hmis.nhp.hmis.gov.in, then you will find a report section. Click on there and you will find this standard reports for the general public. But the data entry is only for the facility user, so it is not available to public as a whole, as a common person. But the data facility wise or the unit level data is always available, and we are sharing through OGD platforms.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I have another question by Anushri. I wanted to know if the sum of GIS data such as health facility services and human resource availability data accessed by an independent researcher.
Yeah, in fact, Madam Anushri, you have pointed out a very right question. This should have been, from my side, I should have told you that any researchers, we have receiving, we received n numbers of requests every day for providing the data, and we are providing the data. So data can be downloaded, as I told you, there on OGD platform, and if you write to us, we can also provide the data. Data is not an issue because it's a very, we have full trust. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Another question, apart from performance monitoring, how HMIS data is helping in support to supervision? Dr. Soumya is asking that.
Sorry, I could not get, sir.
Shall I repeat, sir? Apart from performance monitoring, how HMIS data is helping in support to supervision? Soumya, Dr. Soumya.
So thank you, Doctor. Actually, we are providing a number of checks like CRM. I told you this is a common review mission. Then we are taking mid-level delivery of the programs, the deliverable items. So through various checks we provide the number of options to the programmers, to the programs, not programmers, but the program person. They're the program concerned program divisions. The concerned program divisions, they also have the HMIS access, and they consider their deliverables, and when based on that they also take. So sub-district wise data is available in the public domain, and the standard reports are also available on the public domain. So most of the things are available to all.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And Ishan Bansal, Tirumala, Subhash Gulati, they were asking about the data quality, and you have excellently, elaborately explained that. I am skipping those questions. Then Priyanka Dixit, Dr. Priyanka Dixit is asking, is it possible to get information about cross-referral according to disease or institutional delivery or neonatal care?
Yeah, it is always possible. We are having indicators, we are having items, means institutional deliveries as far as HMIS, now is immunization. We are having this field, and it is all available in our standard reports. So if you have any problem in accessing, you write to us, we'll directly provide to you the means link or the reports, or the if anything special you are looking for, we can also support you in that. But all these indicators are very prime. Actually, these are the basis, the spirit of RMNCHA program. So without having institutional delivery, the focus of the government to increase the institutional delivery. So we are taking full care on these items in the indicators, and we are having. If you need any assistance, write to me. We will provide you.
Yes, sir. We have Dr. Srinivas Goli, but his questions almost raising a page. Dr. Goli, we will definitely come back to you with the answers. Due to paucity of the time, we are just skipping our questions. You have raised very important questions, but we will definitely come back to you. So, is there any provision to create module-wise data entry with the specific facilities such as district hospitals or medical colleges, etc., by Dr. Anand Tripathi, sir?
Sir, thank you, Dr. Tripathi. Actually, we have this facility. Once you log into our system, there is a district facility, district hospital. If you log into our item, then the whole format is being divided into 5 number 1 modules. So if you select the module 1, M1, M2, M3, M5, whatever I told you. So if you select the M1, your entry will be all those items which are M1 which will be displayed, not the entire 400 items will be shown to you. So it is very much categorized, is very much arranged according to their sequences also. So once you enter the system, it automatically saves the data, and whenever you again find the time, you come and enter the data with the same module wise. So it is always available. It is always available.
So one Dr. Chaturvedi from NIMS only, from our institute only, wanted to know whether HMS data can be used to identify the states or district-wise disease elimination, such as the malaria or Kala Hajar, etc.
No, sir. Currently, we are in the process with the malaria eradication program. We are in the process of having this API system. Once the APIs are being established, only then we would be able to know the incidence of malaria in some particular district and cross-verified with our data. We also collect small 1 or 2 indicator on malaria and the Kala Hajar, but not the incidence. As the sir is, I think the intention of the question is that.
So one more last question, sir. How is the HMS aligned with the FP-LMIS software? Is there any plan to integrate both?
What is this FT-LMS, sir?
FP-LMIS by Dr. Mahesh Srinivas.
Family planning
Okay.
line list.
Yeah,
Actually,
okay. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah, please, sir.
Sir, as on date, we don't have that API system with this FP-LMI system. But as I told that we are committed to have all those application within the ministry and through API. So this is the basic purpose of bringing HMIS into integrated health information platform. So slowly and slowly we are moving up, and I think I cannot give any promise here, but very soon we will be having integration with all those programs which are working in the silos in the ministry, because every small program unit, they are having their own MIS. So we are in the process of integrating with all of them, and not only with the program division, we are in the process of integrating with state governments also. So that is once this entire integration will be done, we can provide any information from the HMIS. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So one more last question. How does RCH and NCD match when the data duplication due to multiple level facilities in HMIS? Dr. Khyati.
So a very good question, Dr. Khyati. Now, actually, we have this data verification process through LGD and NIN. So now we get the data. We enter the whatever the system we are calling. Suppose from HMIS, I'm calling one RCH, data integration I'm talking. So we see which facility I am using, which facility they are. So through LGD and NIN, first we integrate our facility level data. And then we come to the item wise data, which particular data item we are visualizing. So they are having their line listing, they are having the beneficiary wise data, we are having the consolidated data. So that's why we mix each one and other. So facility level is fixed by the LGD and NIN, and then we use certain other parameters to arrive at the right figure. If they are showing something different, our system is showing different, then we have certain cross verification. Again, we send to the verification. And what type of verification we use? Very common is the monthly meeting. In the monthly meeting, we discuss your data was showing say around 100, mine data was showing 90, how it could possible, because both the data are talking. So that's why we come to a conclusion, and wherever the provisions are required, we do it. And that's why we come to a quality system, a unique number. You will find every system is an HMIS integration. So those systems we are integrated having the unique item number. The figure is unique. You won't find any data duplication.
Thank you, sir. And there are many more questions. It doesn't mean that they are not important. They are very important. Due to paucity of the time, we are just closing the session now, and we'll definitely get back to you with the answers after discussing with the presenter. And thank you very much. I think the excellent audience, and they are still there. And thank you very much, sir. From my side, Dr. Ojaji, and the very articulate discussant, both of you. I give my congratulations and thanks because I being the part of this NDQ. Over to POP Council, please.
So from my side, thank you all those viewers, all those who have joined virtually. Really a big thanks to you. Your interest, you have shown the interest. Your interest gives us motivation and encouragement to do something better. So next time we'll try to include many more modules. We'll try to include more elaborative this discussion. And again, my thanks are due to these two panelists, Dr. Srinath sir and Dr. Ahmad, for their valuable suggestions and their comments. Really, sir, your comments and the suggestions have enriched our understanding towards what is the public health requirement on our MIS. So very soon, sir, we will try to overcome and we'll try to meet your expectations from the HMIS. Thanks to all of you. And Rao sir, you have been the forerunner, you have been this leader in the organizing such a wonderful webinar, providing me an opportunity. And I'm not the alone. This is an HMIS team. I am being accompanied by my director, Anjali Rawat, my friend and the consultant, Dr. Jha, Ugramohan Jha, and my entire team of consultants, those who are putting their day and night into the system, along with the state team and all ASHA ANM. So I'm thankful to each and every one of my stakeholders who has put in some effort in making the HMIS more successful. And it's really a data ecosystem has been created in an entire country. So nice of you, and thank you from my side. Again, namaskar. Thank you.
Sir, just please wait. I think some formalities are there. Vote of thanks by Population Council, if I'm right.
Sir, this is Niranjan Sagurti from Population Council. I think the fact that 350 plus people have joined the webinar shows in the country for the huge health system monitoring system that we have. And I do not have much words than to say that thank you so much for a wonderful presentation and there are many more questions that we all will be able to answer in the future. And also happy that to say NDQF to work with you closely on this effort, and we are very honored for that. Thank you so much. And,
thank you.
Thanks everyone. Thanks to Dr. Vishnu Raghuvandan Rao for moderating the webinar and facilitating the question and answer session. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Ojaji, Sridhar, Priyaji. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. And one day, sir, I would take the liberty to come to Dr. Sridhar and Dr. Priya. I would like, if you know, one day, I hope that we'll be meeting and face to face. getting your guidance and support for the HMIS. And Dr. Rao is one of my friend, and he's a very good gentleman also, as well as a learned fellow. So I don't want to have take the things more time. Thanks from my side, and really I'm indebted to be here. Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice, stay safe. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. And thank you, my friend from Population Council.
हमारा गया